Hello, I'm Cedar, and today I'm here to discuss that how can we build our own API tool. So we will be building a custom extension for Google Sheets where we will try to fetch data from our Google Tag Manager account. Things like the account name, container ID, latest version ID, tags, triggers, and variables. So we will try to fetch all of this using the custom code that we are going to write, and we will display it here on the Excel. So first of all, we can write the script using, if you go to extensions and we go to app scripts, then we can write the script here, right? So here we have our code, and let us understand that what is it doing and how is it helping us. So first of all, the first function is function on open. So what is it doing? That we are creating a variable here, var menu, and we are saying that spreadsheet.app dot get UI dot create add-on menu. So basically, we are getting the UI of the spreadsheet that is currently open. Then we are adding an item for which we want the label to be as fetch GTM hierarchy, and we want the function to be build sheet. And now we are adding this to the UI. So if we go to the Excel and see that here under the extensions, under the demo GTM add-on, we have fetch GTM hierarchy, the exact name that we specified here, right? And we specified the project name as demo GTM add-on. So this is the name that we are having here. So we called build sheet. Now let's understand the function build sheet. So first and foremost, what is it doing is that we are writing a variable. We will come to headers in a bit. We are writing a variable sheet name, and we are giving the name as GTM hierarchy. So we are saying that let's get the reference of the current sheet, right? So we are saying that spreadsheet.app.get active spreadsheet. So we are trying to get the active spreadsheet, and dot get the sheet name, and we are passing this name. So basically, we are checking that if the sheet exists or not. So if the sheet is not there, like if this value is blank, then we are creating a sheet. We are saying that spreadsheet app dot get active spreadsheet dot insert sheet. So basically, we will want to insert a sheet here, but this, so that it does not keep on inserting new sheets, we also have this that if the GTM sheet already exists, then just clear the sheet. If I go here and show you, like let's say I delete this and I go to my extensions and I click this again. So our GTM sheet will be created again. I click this and my sheet is created, right? So we will see that how the data is populated, but for now, the GTM hierarchy sheet is created. So basically this code checked that if the active sheet has a sheet name of GTM hierarchy, and if it does not, it will provide it, like it will create a new sheet. Then we have the option of build headers, and we are sending two parameters with it. So first is a sheet and second is headers. So headers is basically all, like it is an array here, and all the 7 fields that we want to display, right? If we come here, so these are our headers. So we are calling a function build headers, and we are passing the current sheet and the headers array. So let's go and see the function build headers first. It's a very simple function. We are creating a variable and we are basically getting the point from where we want to start writing on the sheet. So here we are saying that sheet dot get range. We are specifying that from the first row, the starting row, the starting column, the first column, and how many rows do we want to insert? We want to insert one row. And how many columns do we want to insert? So as we want to keep it dynamic, because what if later instead of 7 columns, I want to display 10 columns? Then I will not have to come and change it. So that's why we have kept it as headers.length. So this is dynamic because as the headers array will keep on updating, the length of this right here, this parameter, will also keep on changing. So we are basically saying that in a variable, we want to store the reference that from the first row, first column, write a row with this much columns, like in our case, 7 columns, right? Then we are saying range dot set values and we are passing a header. So basically in Excel, each row is represented by an array, right? So that's what we are doing. Then we have the option of populate data. And we are sending again 3 parameters. First is the sheet, the variable that we created. Then we have a function build data. So now let us understand what is build data doing. So this is the function build data. And this is basically we have created a variable first, var accounts, and we have called a function from this function, which is get accounts. So get accounts is just returning tag manager dot accounts dot list, and we have specified the fields here. Now, why is that? Let us go to the API and understand. If I go to accounts here and in the list, let me just execute this. Right? So we see that first of all, we have a whole lot of different things such as path and features, but we do not have any role for them right now. So what are we doing? We are just specifying the fields that we want. We want name and account ID. So we specified the fields. Then what we are saying is dot account. And why are we doing that? Because here we are getting an array of accounts, so we are just directly accessing it. So this is trying to get all the accounts from our Google Tag Manager because it is saying tag manager dot accounts dot list. So it is trying to use the list method, and we have also tried to specify the fields that we want, the name and account ID, right? So here, this variable now has the list of all the accounts that we have access to, right? Now, this is calling another function, which is build container hierarchy, and it is passing this variable as a parameter. Let's understand build container hierarchy. So if we enter this function, first we see that a data variable is created and it is being set to a empty array. Then as we have an array of accounts, so what we are doing here that for each item in the array, like for each element in the array, we want a function to be executed. We are saying that function and we are catching each element as account, and we are saying that we want to create a container list. So we want to create a container list for each element of accounts array, right? So we are saying that get containers. So for each account ID, we are getting the containers. Let's say for single account, I have 2 containers or 3 containers. So we are getting all that. So if I see the get containers function, it is catching the parameter account ID, and it is also making a request to tag manager, and it is saying that tag manager dot accounts dot containers dot list. And why are we specifying this here? Because if we go to this API documentation and if we go to containers under the list section, if we see, then we need to send this, right? We need to send this parameter right here. And we are also doing one more thing. We are setting the fields. We only want name, public ID, and container ID. Now, first, let's try to get an account so that we can see that what are the other fields that are available to us for a container. So let's quickly get account. We have the account. So let's copy the path so that we can see what are the containers and more importantly, what are the fields that we are avoiding? Because it comes with a lots of fields, right? So let's paste the path here and execute. So we do not want any other field from here. We are just looking for, like if we go here, we are just looking for name, public ID and container ID. So that's why we're just filtering it down to our own need. And we are also using dot container here because this is also an array, right? So we are getting all the containers from this function. Then if we go back here, now this variable stores all the container for this particular account, right? We had the accounts array here and we are doing a for each, we are running a for each function and inside it, we created a variable and in this variable, we have the array of containers for a particular account, right? Now we are saying that for this array, and we are again running a for each, and we are saying that we want to create a data push, right? So basically, we are saying that, okay, this account dot name, this container dot name, container dot public ID, and we are doing one more thing here, which is a latest version. So basically, we are creating a variable, latest version, which calls a function and it has passed two parameters, account.account ID and container.container ID. And here we are simply saying that tag manager.accounts.containers.version headers.latest and we are passing account ID and container ID, right? So this will return with all this information, latest version dot container version ID, latest version dot num tags, latest version dot num triggers and num variables. If we go and see here, we should have it in the versions. Basically a get. Oh, yeah, we are looking for this latest function. And here we will have all these num tags, num triggers, and what else we use? Num variables. So we can see that this will what the response will look like, right? So now this function is executed and this latest version variable has the value. And now we have created a data object. We are returning this and we are returning it here. And the next parameter is headers.length. Now let's see this function populate data, which is having sheet, the data object from build data and headers.length. Yeah, so this is populate data right here. So this is basically saying that first a range variable is created. Then inside it, we are setting the range. We want to start writing from the second row, first column. And the number of rows that we want to write depends on the length of our data object. So we are doing data.length, and the number of columns depends on headers length. So that's why we have passed headers.length. So the number of columns are here. So let's go to Excel, and here in the extensions, if we do this, all this data is being directly fetched from our Google Tag Manager. Like, this is dynamic data. If I go and make changes there, it will be reflected. So what we basically did, we created a script using app script. And one more important thing that we should keep in mind, for us to be able to use this tag manager here, we need to add it as a service, right? If we click here, we have the option and we need to add it as a service. So basically, first we created a menu item, then we called a function build sheet. Inside it, we created a sheet, and if it was already there, we cleared it. Then we set the headers, and then we called populate data, inside which we had build data. So build data is first trying to get all the accounts, because from the accounts ID, we can start our work. So we got all the accounts. Then we went to container hierarchy, and then we looped through each account to get the container, to get the containers, in fact, for each account. And then for each container, we tried to get the latest version, like the version header, right? And then with all of that information, we created a data object. And that data object was passed back to the populate data, and it finally entered it into the Excel. So this is how we can build our own API tool, and we built it for Excel. Yeah, thank you.